What's up, everybody? So excited to be here. Another live with another amazing guest, Russ Macumber. Said it right.
You did.
I did. And, I can't believe that we're over halfway through this year. It's been a freaking wild, wild year on so many levels, right, Russ? At every level. And I saw Russ at DigiMarCon. I was speaking on a panel and he was one of the speakers, and he was talking all about the evolution of search and multi-platform and LLM and like all this cool stuff. And it was so pertinent because that is a lot of what we're talking about at Standout Authority, and as we build our personal brands and what that means in the AI era, and how do you become visible and how do you show up. And this is a key piece, and it's evolving so fast. I was like, Russ, you gotta enlighten my audience. And I'm going to continue talking about this. So thank you so much for being here. As you're watching this, whether you catch the replay or you're watching live, let us know where you are, say what's up, definitely connect with him. And let's have some fun. So I would love for you to tell us, okay, you've had like a really non-traditional path, actually.
Yeah.
And obviously you have like this little accent. So in the not super long-winded version, how you got to be the founder of Impressive. You have so many awards, global awards, for Agency of the Year. What was that journey like a bit?
Yeah. So yeah, the accent, obviously I'm not from here. So I live in Austin. Been here since 2021, but I'm Australian. I'm from Melbourne, born and bred. Australians watching this will pick up a bit of a Bogan accent in there. I did live in the country for a few years. So, but yeah, in terms of like the journey to here, I definitely took the scenic route, I'd say. Like I've been in marketing, sales-oriented roles. I've owned my own businesses. I've headed up sales orgs for tech companies. Done a range of things. I was a DJ. I was a copywriter. Copywriting was basically the starting point for me in terms of getting a foot in the door and really enjoying marketing. I was the kid who, when the Super Bowl wasn't big in Australia in the 90s, but the ads were, and even in the early 2000s, and I loved advertising. I loved ads. I loved the psychology behind it. And I'd grown up in small businesses, in retail, so I had like a connection to, oh, that's a product and we sell that product, and it kind of always resonated with me. So, but I went to school. I kind of flunked out of college first time around. Actually got the final straw was I basically rocked up barefoot and drunk to an exam and got booted out, got asked not to come back. So that was that. Went and worked in hospitality for a big hotel chain, started running entertainment programs and writing copy, and that's where my love of writing and that kind of first kind of little endorphin hit of watching the writing hit a customer really started my marketing journey. And then I was a freelance copywriter for a number of years. It's a long-winded story. I ran an events company where I headed up the marketing. We did a range of different marketing activations there. So, but eventually ended up working, heading up the sales team at a marketing agency, and that agency picked up some American clients. So then myself and the owner of the Australian agency went, we should probably set something up over there, because this 3 a.m. starts and trying to service things in different regions that we don't understand, not working so well. So that's when the decision was made to start an American agency, which I'm the co-founder of, Impressive.
Wow. You did miss the part where you were Kiss FM radio host?
Yeah, I did that as well. So I was a DJ. So when I was copywriting, I was doing some advertising, some website copywriting, but my passion was music. I was running events in music. I was DJing, and the DJing led to an opportunity to be a radio host on Kiss FM in Melbourne. And so I started on an afternoon shift with a friend, and we had a bit of a following, did really well, and we sort of graduated into the breakfast slot. We did breakfast radio for a year, about a year and a half. And that was 5 a.m. starts. Often, frankly, like rolling out of the club directly to the studio and just kind of letting rip, and that was a lot of fun. And that frankly, that was it led to a lot of the stuff that I do now around podcasting, and I've done a fair bits of TV and all sorts of things. And that was the start of that. Really enjoying broadcasting.
Yeah, and being your authentic self, right? Like you've been kind of building your personal brand and crafting. I always find it really interesting because people don't know who they are. People don't know how to talk about themselves. They like go straight into like what they do. And there's always a common thread.
Yeah.
Even in the most non-traditional paths I've seen, there's always there's a heartbeat, of who a human is. And so you could see that through your ability really to communicate, right? To resonate with an audience and find a way in. So I think it's such a cool journey. So how did you get into like SEO and paid media, like from radio and drinking and clubbing and like the wedding industry you were a part of? Like, what was happening and what year was that too? Like what was going on in the market too?
Yeah.
And then take me into like what you're seeing today.
Yeah. So I guess, that common thread, the red thread, it's easier to see when you look backwards than it is when you're in it. So a lot of people, like in my 20s, I would have been accused of being really flaky. I was running an events company, I was DJing, I was copywriting, I was doing radio, all these different things that seem disconnected. But when you look back, it's all creative. It was all kind of marketing, business driven. There was a real common thread to it. My initial kind of foray into digital marketing, I was buying for my events company in 2003, 2004. I was paying 6 cents a click for AdWords. We were running banner ads on different websites. That was a long time ago. But I didn't know whether it was working or not. Back then, you just like pay a guy, you're getting a bunch of clicks. Okay, people are coming through the door. It must be working. By 2012, I'd done experiential marketing for a period. But I was fascinated by the trackable nature of digital marketing. So I've got a role in digital marketing at a tech company, and that was 2012. And that's where I started to learn more around traffic and websites and different paid channels, organic channels, social media, a range of different things. That the traffic side of it really, really appealed to me. I love the idea of being able to create content or create campaigns that do enough to pull the right users through to then convert whatever a conversion happens to be for your business. So from 2012 through 2017, I worked for that tech company. I ended up heading up their sales team, and that was in the wedding industry. And then part of my flaky red thread self was I was selling and running advertising programs for wedding businesses, and I was like, I could do this better than them. So I went, okay, cool. I better start a wedding business. And then I started another one. So I had that going on at the same time. And I built a couple of really successful businesses off the back of SEO. And Facebook, it was actually SEO, Facebook ads, and Google ads. That was like the primary, and then referral channels, which are obviously always important. So that was kind of the start to how I got into it. But it's changed a lot. And I am someone who loves learning new things, following trends, trying to find where things are going. And I genuinely think the time that we're in now with ChatGPT and LLMs and the social platforms getting so much better at just keeping you in that ecosystem. It's just a super interesting time for marketing in general, for capturing and holding on to user attention, and for trying to build out a marketing program, an SEO program that can still connect with people, because it's so much different. 2012, it was probably 2008 to 2012 when I started to understand what SEO was. It was very, very like dark, shady room. Don't touch that guy. He knows what he's doing. He's down there with his spreadsheets, and he's got his headphones in, and you would never speak to him. And he's probably just building a bunch of links and putting white text on a white page and all sorts of things that you just wouldn't dream of doing now. But that was SEO.
Yeah.
But as the algorithms have evolved and user behavior has evolved, and we're going through a really, really quick evolution of user behavior now, marketers have had to get savvier and smarter and more keyed in on their audience. and how they're behaving?
Yeah, much more keyed in. So a couple things I want you to dive a little bit deeper. So, and I'm not a paid media or SEO expert, but I have been a part of teams, especially at Microsoft and Gartner, where this is a key part of our team. And so I worked with everybody and got an understanding. So you said Google ads, Facebook ads, right? And then you're thinking about SEO, search engine optimization. And so to me, that makes sense. And like programmatic, right?
Yep.
And then for the people that don't really know, you'd think, okay, here's the first page of Google, and here's the sponsored ads at the beginning. So those are the paid ads. And then I want the SEO part is like making sure we show up right after, And but holy crap, like we were really focused on that at Gartner, and that was, 2020, let's call it. 2021 even. Now the Google page doesn't look like that at all. Now everybody's now people are searching for things directly on TikTok, directly on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Now they're going into ChatGPT and saying, I'm looking for the best LinkedIn expert in the world instead of going to Google. I see it. I have 2 stepkids who are Gen Z and Gen Alpha, 16 and 13. I'm like, oh, they don't know what Googling it means.
Yeah.
Literally will go onto YouTube to look up for a video, right? They don't know this idea of Googling it, which is mind blowing for me. Okay, Russ?
Yeah.
So that's like the practical me marketer. That's where I'm seeing. Now you tell me, what the hell does that mean as a marketer in terms of where are we focusing in this massive change? You've mentioned social search. You've mentioned LLMs. Can what's happening with Google? You mentioned Bing really big.
Yeah.
Can you dive a little bit into, I guess, this multi-platform?
Yeah. Well, I think like my kids are similar age to yours, and that was what really sparked my curiosity around how are they using search? Where are they using search? How are they finding the content that they want? And yeah, for a long time, 15, 20 years, if you want to know something, you just Google it, right? Whether it's top, mid, lower funnel, doesn't matter. Google's got it. You go there. And so everyone would put all their efforts into, okay, let's get shown up there because Google's got it. But seeing the way my kids use these different platforms, asking them questions around, why did you go to TikTok for that? Why did you go to YouTube for that? And the way they answer is just not what you expect. Like it might be, I know my daughter and this sort of, I am kind of backing into the question around how do you start optimizing for these platforms. Yeah. But like, if we think about my daughter, she likes to use Google for factual stuff. What is, how to, what age can I ride a jet ski, as an example. But if she wants to know how can I ride a jet ski, or how does a 14-year-old girl ride a jet ski, she'll go to TikTok because she wants to watch a video of someone doing that. So, okay, cool. Different intent for that audience, different platform. As a marketer, and this is what I love too, like as someone who's been in marketing for 25 years, got really fascinated with SEO, but I'm not a super technical SEO person. So I was never, writing JavaScript. I'm never in the code. So the fact that we're sort of coming back out and looking at SEO from a more of a marketing lens is like, it's a sweet spot for me. I'm like, yes, I'm in my zone. So that's the way my daughter, a 14-year-old, my son, who's a bit younger, he'll do a what is search on TikTok. And I asked him, why do you do what is on TikTok? Why wouldn't you go somewhere else? And he's like, because if I go to say Google, I'm going to have someone your age telling me what it is, but I want someone my age telling me, because they're going to say it in language that I understand, the context that I understand. So that's an alpha and a Gen Z. I think there's like another evolution that's potentially happening there. So what the brands do, really understanding where your core audience is, what their intent is in that moment, and then what sort of visibility you have on those platforms where your core audience is having those moments. That's where we need to start looking at these organic search, multi-platform SEO. There's a range of different terms out there: LLM SEO, AEO, which is answer engine SEO, generative engine optimization, GEO. Anyway, it's all, to me, it's search engine search everywhere optimization. If there's a search bar in Amazon, or if we're using ChatGPT, if we're looking on Instagram or LinkedIn, there's an opportunity to optimize for that. And that's really what it comes back to. So in terms of brands, it's still around 90% of search is happening in Google. So you still need the fundamentals. For your content to start getting shown in those other places, it needs to be accessible in your site. So that's where technical SEO and those fundamentals are really important. How crawlable is my site? Is it getting indexed? Is it friendly to bots that aren't necessarily Google bots? The LLM bots don't read JavaScript. So am I serving up content which is more readily digestible for those? These are the questions you need to start asking. And then understanding the platforms that your audience is on in those moments, we start looking at topical dominance, not just in Google, but you've probably already got an SEO program where you're like, okay, this is our cluster of topics that we focus most of our energy on. But if your users are searching for those in greater numbers or in growing numbers on Instagram and TikTok and elsewhere, we really need to start thinking about the content that's there so that we can gain more exposure more broadly, which then circles around because the LLMs are using signals from a range of places. So by spreading your search strategy across platforms, you're actually feeding the LLMs with more fuel for relevance to get mentions.
Okay. Pause there.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about definitely some really interesting buying behaviors from Gen Z and Gen Alpha. People that are going to be listening in our audience are not them, but those are our kids, and that's where it's going, right?
Yep.
So it's so important. They're kind of like, here's like the whoa, where it's going, and then we're going to meet somewhere probably here, right? The two levels.
Yep.
So you're talking, there's a couple, it's still SEO though, right?
I think it's SEO.
So I think that's like funny, right? People are like, SEO is dead. And by the way, I have like tons of content out there to just drive people's interest where I'm like, search is dead. I'm like, not just kidding. But I think people are just so funny with that.
Yeah.
AEO, our marketers like to create new terms. Let's be honest.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. So here's the thing I'm trying to wrap my head around. So the LLMs, I have two questions. One, I first want to ask around audience. So a lot of people here on LinkedIn are talking to business professionals. It tends to be business to business, right? Let's call it you're the business owner of whatever, you're a CXO. Let's say you're the consultant, whatever, right? And you're like, how do I get myself more visible? Where are they going to go? What would you say to that person?
We love SparkToro, the software, the platform, in terms of audience research. That's our go-to internally. So if we're working on a strategy pivot or a new client and we're trying to understand, okay, well, they're really, really active here, but where can we find them? Like just straight up as an agency, we're trying to be additive, right? Yeah. We're trying to find new areas of revenue for them. So SparkToro it's our go-to tool. So we'll plug in their site, their competitors, whether it's search themes, there's a range of things. And then that platform, will share with you where their users are spending most time, where they're browsing on social platforms, some similar brands that, that we should look at, maybe emphasizing some of our targeting around. SimilarWeb does a lot of similar stuff. It's probably more enterprise priced, definitely. And SparkToro for me is the one, frankly. Like, it's just a really cool tool.
So that can help us in the how.
Yep.
Right, for our professionals. And like, I'm going to assume that I haven't used SparkToro. I think that's from Rand Fishkin, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah. Which is Moz and a bunch of Okay. Yeah. So, but my assumption is that is going to be curating from or you tell me, where is that going to be curating information from? Google, LinkedIn, social, is that?
It's a range. I think it uses X as well as Google Trends. I believe they've got some kind of partnership with not Clickstream, Datos. Yeah, they pull from a range of sources. I can tell you that we just find when we use it to inform our targeting, we get really good results. So that just gives us good confidence in the data and the platforms that it shares with us.
Okay, amazing. So we have something tactical we can use.
Yep.
Now, talk about the LLM side. From what I've been hearing is that's a little bit of a black box, that a lot of that data is not being shown in something like Spark Toro or in some of the systems that are out there.
Yeah, the visibility inside them is not, I mean, it's not public. It's not like a search page which bots can then crawl, aggregate, and show, averages. Ahrefs, the marketing intelligence platform, has got a new feature in it where it shows visibility. I don't know the mechanics behind how it works. I don't know how accurate it is, if I'm being honest. I know that AI overviews, a lot of these platforms are using AI overviews as like what's the word I'm looking for? Because AI overviews you see, it's actually there on the screen. So there is a way to grab that and start to understand what type of content is getting shown there, how it's shown, where the links are shown, that sort of thing. Most of the tech out there that's trying to give more visibility around LLM mentions, they're using AI overviews as like, okay, well, this is one of the LLMs. This is how it is showing stuff. It's saying that, links aren't as important as brand mentions. Brand awareness is a huge driver of what's actually showing. The organic listings have some correlation, but it's not like a one-to-one. It's much more personalized, much more specific than that. So I don't know if I answered your question. It's not as dialed in as the MarTech of the past.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, would you say that it's kind of where things were maybe 10 years or whatever it was ago, where Google and was like, oh, here's how we really optimize for the Google SERP. We don't know what that really means yet for the LLMs and what that.
There's a lot of studies happening. The other thing is too, the algorithms for those LLMs are changing really rapidly too, because they're so new. So a lot of what works now, so internally we have a framework of how we're trying to help our brands get mentioned more, get found more. There are some fundamentals which are consistent, and then there's little experiments we run to see whether other things are working. Some of the experiments are more around the type of content that content creators create to get found on social platforms. It becomes a realm outside of traditional SEO. But the consistent things we're finding are structured data, like schema markup, really, really important. Is it clear? Is it on your most important pages? Does it give the LLMs a quick snapshot of what's on that page, whether it's recipe schema, or product schema, author schema? There's a range. That's important for LLMs. Brand awareness, it sounds so silly, like brand awareness. Have a really well-known brand, you'll get mentioned more. Who would have thought? But there was an obsession with, and this is coming from someone who runs a performance marketing agency. There was an obsession with performance marketing for a long period of time because CFOs loved, okay, I'll give you $1, you give me $4 back, and I'll keep giving you dollars. Cool, let's just live in that world. But brand building doesn't live in that world, because brand building is not a one to easy calculation. We're definitely coming back to a point where brands are realizing that they do need to build, whether it's, if you want to call it demand generation or brand marketing or anything, it's just brand building, it's brand awareness. So whether that's a big creative idea or execution, or whether that's PR, whether that's PR link building, having your brand become more well-known. This sounds so silly to be saying in 2025, but that's a way to get more awareness in the platforms.
Yeah, it does sound silly, but it isn't. And this is the fight that us brand people have been having for years. And what's happening, you're right, what we've been living in is now it was 1 to 4. And so it was like, let's put all the money because we need the money. And now that's not working anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, honestly, still though, especially at the big corporate level, which you're working with, they're still not valuing the investment in brand. And it's for a long haul. It's the long haul. But what's great is that we're seeing it being more important. And this is my other question to you. And I do just want to shout out, sorry, don't be mad, but We do have a brand launch pad for this exact reason.
Yep. Yep.
And like literally because we're seeing this as such a challenge and people don't know, what to do. And so if you scan that QR code, you can get some information on our brand launch pad around your personal brand. So when you're thinking about content, so big piece. So now we've talked about like what's happening and all that. Content is what fuels all of this. Many different facets of that. And in many ways, content is commoditized now because the frame has completely changed. Now everyone thinks they're a content creator, right? And then the AI is just feeding us all the same stuff because people don't actually spend the time to create the proper personas and all that, right? So what's your advice for people that are thinking about how do I actually differentiate myself, build brand in the AI era? What are you guys doing?
This will speak. You probably got another QR code for this, but I think authenticity, like just that understanding that humans are getting more skeptical because of the volume of AI content out there, and letting an LLM have that. These things should be productivity pushes, not original idea generators. Like that's my genuine thought on it. And people can tell. I don't know how else to put it. People can tell when there's real authenticity behind the brand, whether there's real, customer use stories that connect to actual outcomes that are good for you and they're told by people that you can trust. Like there is, and I really think people are going to get a keener and keener sense of it over time. I don't think this is just like a small moment in time. I think, we just, as humans, we evolve and we get used to, okay, that scam used to work, but now I'm not going to pick up my phone to an unknown number. I'm not going to do these things. It's the same. And people are going to get more attuned to it. So, I just think having, I don't know how else to put this, having really well ingrained humans inside your brand, communicating that in a way which is authentic, that connects all of your creative and all of your customers and everything in a way that actually feels real and impactful. Yeah. That's the way forward.
Well, I couldn't have said it better. Could not agree more. Yes. Okay. So in our last minute or two here, rapid fire. What is more fun, B2B or B2C for you?
Oh, okay. B2C for my team at Impressive, because they get inside the customer mindset of a consumer better. Frankly, I think B2B for me, because I'm a B2B buyer. But I love both. I mean, I buy as a consumer as well, but if I was to split it out, that's the split for me.
Okay. A quote you live by or mantra or anything?
Yeah. Emmett Smith, Cowboys, 90s. All men are created equal. Some just work harder in preseason. I just love that. I love that concept that if I just work a bit harder than the next guy, I'll get an edge. Okay,
this wasn't on our list, but tacos or queso?
Tacos or queso? Oh, wow. Probably queso. Yeah.
We're in Austin. Come on, we got.
I know. That's a tough one. Can't I have both?
I know. Ideally together, sometimes so on.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, so cool. I hope everybody really enjoyed. I mean, this is such good information. I know that I learned a ton. Russ, I really appreciate you. I hope that people will follow you and connect. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we sign off?
No, I guess just, look me up, Russ Macumber on LinkedIn, probably tag somewhere here. If you want to connect, hit me up. And I've got a podcast as well. We talk about search and all sorts of things. So just look me up. You'll see all that stuff.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I can't wait to see you next month. Please say hello. Bye everyone.